Good afternoon. I'm Peter Sparanese, City Manager for the City of Abbotsford, and I'm with Mayor Henry Braun, who will be providing you with an update on the state of the emergency, evacuation orders, and updates with Sumas City, as well as some information on the repairs and recovery works that have been completed to date. I ask that you hold all your questions until he's completed his remarks. Staff will also be on hand with microphones as they'd like to be able to capture your questions as part of the overall briefing. Please ensure that you speak loudly into the mic. Thank you, and over to our Mayor, Henry Braun. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter, and good afternoon. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are located on the traditional territories of the Tsemeth, Matsqui, and Leqamal First Peoples. I'm Henry Braun, the Mayor of Abbotsford, and with me today is our City Manager, Peter Sparanese. As predicted, the rain started here in Abbotsford overnight, and we have continued to receive heavy rain throughout the day. Water levels on the north side of Highway 1 at North Parallel near Castle Fun Park began rising mid-morning and reached the point at approximately 11 a.m. where we had to issue targeted evacuations for some buildings in that area, and I signed 2 evacuation orders in that area just before I came down here. The localized flooding in this region of our community will cross underneath the Trans-Canada Highway. However, as I said yesterday, I do not have any updates on the conditions of Highway 1, and I encourage everyone to check with Highways and Drive BC in order to get the latest updates on the highway conditions. Additionally, due to the localized flooding, we had to close several roads in the Matsqui Prairie region, which is located in the northern part of our community, and that's our other farming prairie on the Fraser River. The sandbagging and sediment clearing work that was done in and around historic Claiborne Village is holding back any flooding from reaching homes and businesses in that area. I went out this morning with our Chief Constable, Mike Sear, and we went to both of these areas, and I can tell you that we are seeing some significant pooling of water in both the Matsqui Prairie and in the North Parallel Road area. I also stopped at the administration offices of both Tsemeth and Matsqui First Nations in person to check how they are faring through these latest weather events. We will continue to work closely with both of these First Nations as we begin our recovery from the flooding events. Despite the localized flooding that we are experiencing today, I am pleased to be able to share that I have some overall positive forecasts related to the larger flooding situation. Regional water modeling projections for today and for the next few days indicate a stabilization of overall water levels across our region despite the rain that we are receiving and will continue to receive into tomorrow. Our Barrowtown floodgates remain open and the Sumas River continues to flow into the Fraser River at this time, and that is great news. All of the mitigation work along our Sumas Dike is complete, and right now our dikes are as ready as they can be. We now have patrols operating overnight along the dikes to monitor conditions so that we can keep apprised of any change in conditions as soon as they occur. Overall, we have seen the water levels in the Sumas Prairie Lake bottom drop by approximately 6 inches in the last 24 hours. Further, projections from Whatcom County indicate that at this time, they are not expecting the Nooksack River to overflow its banks today or in the next few days. However, the situation remains fluid and there is still some uncertainty, and we will be monitoring this situation very closely. Currently, water levels are continuing to abate in Huntington Village area as the floodwaters we received yesterday drain into the Sumas River and then out through the floodgates into the Fraser River. The mayor of Sumas has also confirmed this morning that water levels on their side of the border is dropping today. The sandbag berm that the Canadian Armed Forces built along the railway at the border will help to ensure that any additional water or residual water does not find its way into this area should conditions change. Again, I want to reiterate to all of our residents that I am confident that we have done all that we can do to keep our community safe as we go through this final weather event for this week anyway. Turning to our recovery efforts, the rapid damage assessments of properties being conducted by Task Force 1 have continued over the past few days, although their efforts have been somewhat hampered by the flooding yesterday. This work will continue, and we expect to have updates on our return to home plans for everyone in the coming days. Again, as we continue to move toward recovery, our long-term focus in partnership with the provincial and federal governments will continue to be on how we are going to rebuild our critical infrastructure to ensure we do not experience another event of this magnitude or worse. The support of both the province and the federal governments for the vital upgrades we need to see completed will make the difference between us potentially dealing with another mass flooding event in the future that impacts our farmers and shuts down our key transportation corridors. As I mentioned yesterday, over the last several days, I have witnessed firsthand the results of all of the efforts that have been put forward protecting our community from further damage. This is the result of the tireless work of our city staff, our first responders, contractors, the Canadian Armed Forces, as well as numerous volunteers who have assisted with sandbagging and other mitigation efforts. I cannot thank all of you enough for coming together to protect our community. Yesterday, the city manager and I met with council, and I would also like to acknowledge them for their ongoing and unanimous support through this event. As always, we continue to keep you informed of changes and updates in the water levels through our daily updates, as well as the City of Abbotsford website and social media channels. That is my update for you today, and I will take any questions.
It's Ben Milger with CTV News. Earlier today, we saw a small localized landslide in a residential neighborhood near some townhomes. Are you at all concerned that the already saturated hillsides more could give way, putting other homes at risk because of all this rain?
I'm aware of one. I don't really, I don't get down to that level of detail. Our staff would be looking at that. I did go through Straighton down to get into the backside of Claiborne Village, and I did see that there was a number of places where we've lost part of that road, and so it is blocked off to traffic, but we have some significant repairs to do there as well. So with this amount of rain, I've never seen this amount of rain in such a short period of time. So I would not be surprised if we will have isolated small slides in certain places where we have houses on steep slopes. Anyone else? Appears not. Thank you for coming out today, and we'll have our next update for you at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you.